Assalamu alaikum viewers, please like, share and subscribe this channel. Links of PDF files used in this video are given in description. So today's lecture is about high performance liquid chromatography, and this is the part 1 of this lecture. And in this particular lecture we will discuss basics about HPLC or high performance liquid chromatography type. So in short abbreviation, this technique is also called as HPLC, where H stands for high, whereas P stands for two words, maybe performance and pressure, and then there is liquid, and then the term chromatography. So high means the resolution of this technique is very high. Performance or pressure means that we are using pressure to move things. Liquid, that indicates the liquid solvent reservoir which will be using as a mobile phase. So this is a very complex technique, but in this particular lecture we will only focus on basics and fundamentals of this technique. So the basic contents of this lecture include invention, analogy, applications, advantages, system configuration, actual system, solvent reservoirs, degassing technique, then solvent delivery system, sample injection, HPLC column types, detectors, elution types, HPLC solvents, elution effects, and finally thermostat. So in total we are discussing about 16 different things about HPLC. So first of all, we will see how this technique of chromatography got invented. So it was invented by a botanist named Tsvet. So what was happening that he filled a column with calcium carbonate, and this calcium carbonate is acting as a stationary phase, whereas this chlorophyll is a mixture which he wanted to separate, and then there is a liquid ether which will be acting as a mobile phase. So what happened that when he added ether, then under the action of gravity, the ether, by dissolving things in it, move under the action of gravity through this column. As it moved, it has been noted that there were different colors formed. So due to these colors, the name chrome has been came into existence, and the word graphy means to draw. So a different colors or pattern of colors was obtained. That is why this technique is called as chromatography. Now what was happening that this chlorophyll is not a simple molecule, but it is a mixture of compounds. So these compounds, as the ether moves downward inside the column, then these compounds were separated depending upon their interaction with the ether or the stationary phase. So if we are seeing here that this black and white compound has moved greater extent, so it means it has less interaction with calcium carbonate and it has more interaction with the ether, whereas this green color compound, it has moved less downside. What it means that it has more interaction with calcium carbonate and has less interaction with ether. So in this way different colors were formed, and hence a chromatography word came into existence. So this is the first uh, experiment in which this technique got invented. So how chromatography separate things? This can be explained by simply an analogy. So what this analogy is, that consider a stream is moving and the water is moving from this side to this side. So we have a mixture of things in which there are light leaves and there are heavy stones. So as we pour things in this moving stream, so what will happen that heavy stones will go to the base, whereas the light leaves, they will move with the water. So similarly, now we are seeing here that why the heavy stones, they are not moving with the stream, because they are heavy, they have more interaction with the gravity, so they remain in the base, whereas the lighter leaves, they don't have weight, so they don't get stuck in the base, so they move. So in this way we have separated these two things. So similarly, the chromatography separate things based on their interaction with stationary phase or either with mobile phase. So in terms of chromatography, we will consider there are two things. Number one is blue thing and number two is brown things. When we pour these things in the system, this base will constitute the stationary phase of the chromatography. So as the blue dots have greater interaction with this stationary phase, so they will not elute out or will come at the end, whereas these brown dots, as they have more interaction with the mobile phase, so they will move with the mobile phase and they will exit from this column early as compared to the blue dots which were having more interaction with the stationary phase. So on the basis of interaction with the mobile phase or with stationary phase, the things got separated from one another and we can detect them separately through different types of detectors. So this is the basic analogy of chromatography technique. So what are the applications of these techniques? So the chromatography is used in pharmaceuticals and it is used for the analysis of antibiotics, sedatives, steroids and analgesics. Similarly, it is used in biochemistry in order to analyze amino acids, proteins, carbohydrates and lipids. It is used in food industry in order to have information about the structures and chemical composition of artificial sweeteners, antioxidants, aflatoxins and food additives. It is used in industrial chemicals such as in the analysis of condensed aromatics, surfactants, propellants, dyes. It is used for the analysis of pollutants in the field of environmental chemistry, such as in the analysis of pesticides, herbicides, phenols, polychlorinated biphenyls or PCBs. It is used in forensic science for the analysis of drugs, poisons, blood, alcohol, narcotics. It is also used in clinical chemistry for the information of bile acids, drug metabolites, urine extracts, estrogen hormones, etc. So this slide shows the actual diagram of the instrument and why this technique is more advantageous as compared to the other types of chromatography. So the basic advantages include high separation capacity, enabling the batch analysis of multiple components. So we can separate the large quantities of a mixture. So superior quantitative capability and reproducibility. So we have a large quantity of mixture which can be analyzed, and there is the term reproducibility. It means that if we are repeating the same experiment, then the results will be the same. Unlike gas chromatography, the sample does not need to be vaporized. So as this is a liquid chromatography, so we will use the mixture of compounds to be analyzed in the form of liquid. So we don't need to vaporize or we don't need to decompose these things. Similarly, it has high journal sensitivity, so even a small amount can produce a greater signal. Low sample consumption, that even a small amount of a sample can produce enough results to determine what are the things or the constituents of the mixture. Easy preparative separation and purification of samples, so we can purify or separate the things very easily and there is no much effort in order to prepare the samples, and to make them ready for the analysis. So this slide is the main crux of this lecture and this slide is named as system configuration. So in this slide we will see what are the things that make a HPLC system. So first of all, we will carry the liquid or mobile phase in this solvent reservoir. So the organic or aqueous solvents are added in this reservoir. Then this reservoir is further connected to a degasser. The main function of this degasser is to remove the air bubbles. Then there is a pump which suck things and it will move things forward. So the pressure word comes from this pump which deliver the mobile phase at a constant flow. Then there is a sample injector and this is the vial or sample mixture. From this sample mixture, the sample injector takes the sample and it is introduced into the HPLC column. So here we are seeing that this is the cavity of column. So this is the main column, and this column is placed in an oven is used for making the temperature constant, whereas this is the chromatography column, and in this column basically the separation of the things takes place. Then the things move further to this detector compartment. Here the detector detects what are the compounds that are coming out or eluted from the column, and the detector then sends signal to this workstation, and here a particular chromatogram is formed from the signals of the detector. And from here we know that what are the things which are eluting out or coming out from the column, what is their chemical nature, and how much of their quantity is. So in this way we perform an HPLC analysis, and these are the major components that make this HPLC system work. This slide shows the actual chromatographic system. So if we are using different things here, so this is the workstation, and here we are using the computer system to display the chromatogram. So these are the chromatographic columns which are actually used, and these columns are fitted in this smart place which is called as column oven. So in the base there is auto sampler where the sample vials are placed, and then this is the portion of pump, and then there is detector, this is degasser, and these are the solvent or mobile reservoirs. So in the previous slide we have seen things in scattered form, but in actual practice the actual system is very compact, and it is just like a small refrigerator type, and we are making things in compact form so that they can be stored in the limited space of the labs. And these are benchtop setups, so these are quite small in size, and with the progress of innovations in the field of analytical chemistry, and the sizes of these systems are getting smaller and smaller. So this was all about basics of the HPLC system, and in the next lecture we will discuss in detail each and every different component or aspect of chromatography. Up till now, this is all about today's lecture. I hope you have well understood this lecture, but if you still have confusion, you can ask your question in the comment section. I will respond to your queries as soon as possible. Okay, thank you. Allah Hafiz.